Hello, I'm Dan Leonard, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the market volatility and what's been happening in the markets over the last 2 weeks. This is the PG&E Retirement Show, hosted by Marathon Retirement Planning. We'll be right back. Hi, everyone. Dan Leonard from Marathon Retirement Planning, your PG&E retirement specialist. As you know, each week we're on Facebook at 2:30 on Monday afternoons. We then package it up and repost these on YouTube and to our LinkedIn page or to my LinkedIn page. And we're just happy you're here to listen in and learn a little bit about what's going on, primarily with PG&E. But this week, I thought with what's been going on over the last 2 weeks that we'd focus just a little bit on the markets, because 2 weeks ago, I was actually at an industry conference when the market started to decline. And then last week, obviously, it kind of became a full-blown correction when we got down to being down 10%. So I obviously started to get some phone calls, and we're going to go back to a couple of years ago. If you're a football fan, you may recall the Aaron Rodgers quote where he basically sat at the podium and said, RELAX, relax. This is a normal decline in the market. Last 2 days we've been up. Doesn't mean we can't go down more than we have already, but a normal decline of 10% does happen almost every year. Now, it hasn't happened in the last several years, so it makes it a little bit more alarming when you see, oh my God, we're down 10% in 2 weeks. But there's nothing abnormal about what's happening. Normally a 20% decline or a bear market happens once every 5 to 10 years. We haven't even had that really since 2009. So there's nothing abnormal about it. But in my opinion, if the 10% has got you rattled, you really need to look at your risk tolerance. So it's not so much about what's happening in the market, it's what's happening for you. Because most people that have gotten back into the markets, they saw 2008, or maybe you're newer in the workforce and you didn't see 2008 with your money, you heard about it, but all of a sudden people see that decline and start to get nervous. And if you're getting nervous about how much your portfolio is down when the market is down 10%, to me, that's a sign you're probably taking too much risk in your portfolio. And as an advisor, one of our jobs is to try to determine how much risk is this client willing to take. And it's always easy to ask the risk tolerance questions. You know, if the market went down 10%, 20%, what would you do? Intuitively, you know the right thing to do is to hold tight or buy more or some version of not panic. But when it's actually happening, that's when it's a different story. In the last 38 years, and this came out of a JP Morgan chart that I got when I was just at this regional conference, or the investment conference, and I've seen this chart before, but what that shows you is, again, and we'll just point out to up here, let that focus for a second, or not, but the S&P has declined on average 13.8% each year over the last 38 years. And in the last 38 years, 29 of them, the market actually had a positive return for the year. So that means at some point during the year, on average, we fell 13.8%, regardless of whether we finished up or down. So what we've seen in the last 2 weeks, we didn't even hit what the average has been over the last 38 years. So the point is, if you can't handle the 10% decline, you really have to question your investment decisions and whether you should be in even investments that can go up and down, or if you don't, if you can't, maybe it's something that's more guaranteed. And that's just a matter of preference, but it also is a matter of where you are. If you're 20 to 35, you probably can withstand that. If you're 55 to 65 and want to retire in the next 2 to 3 years, a 10% decline can be a lot more gut-wrenching, and you need to consider maybe we need to become more conservative. So, if you want to look at something that's volatile, now, like I said, the S&P has had low volatility for the last 5+ years. But everyone, and there was several sessions on this at the conference I was at on Bitcoin. So from the beginning of last year, Bitcoin has gone from $996 per coin to $19,065, and then as of this morning, it was at $82.04. That's volatility. But yet that's the asset that everyone says, oh, what do you think? Should I get involved in that? If you've had that thought, and on the other hand have been nervous about the market, you really need to sit down and understand what your risk tolerance is. And that would be my offer for anyone watching this video is if you need help trying to determine what the right mix or blend of where you should be invested is, that is something that we do with all of our clients. We sit down, we go through a risk tolerance, and we try to get you somewhere on a model. We have 7 different versions we use, from very conservative to very aggressive. So if you need the money in the immediate future and you really can't afford to lose it, you're going to be on the more conservative end. If you're going to be 30+ years, you're going to be on the more aggressive end, unless personally you can't stand to see that, and then you have to make an adjustment for that. So that's what we help our clients do, is figure out where is the right place to be, so that when we see a correction like this, you don't worry about what's happening in the markets. You know you can withstand it. Now, a lot of our accounts that are kind of in the middle of the road have been down about half as much as what the market has been down. But that's because that's what they're designed to do. That also means when the market goes up, they don't go up as much as the market does. But again, that's part of a good plan in the long run. And that's what I really think anybody that's concerned about what's happening in the market is you need to go back to why you're investing and where you're investing and review that. If you don't have a plan, well, then you're really just speculating. You're taking risks that may or may not be appropriate for you. So if that's the case, we'd be happy to sit down with you and help you put a plan together, because what we're really trying to do is help people with their serious money. If you want to buy Bitcoin, if you want to take other risks, I have no problem with that, but do it with the right percentage of your overall portfolio. So again, that's it for me this week. Again, I'm Dan Leonard. If for any reason, there we go. That's how you can get a hold of me at 925-726-4015. Again, I'm Dan Leonard. And then you can get a hold of me at Dan at mrppfg.com. And then if you need to set up a call, you can do something at bit.ly.pge call, and that is cap sensitive. So sorry about the phone ringing there. That's what we're up to. If I can do anything for you, please give me a call. Would love to have the chance to talk to you. Thank you very much.